bring this regular council meeting City of St. John to order here at City Hall, August 6, 2024 at 7 p.m. Are there any additions to the agenda this evening?
I'd like to make a few.
Okay.
An executive session for 15 minutes for non-elected personnel. And another one for 2025 budget. I don't know if these may be taken off depending if we talk about them beforehand. And an amendment to the housing development contract. Second amendment to the housing development contract. That's all I've got.
How much time do you need on the second one?
5 and 5.
5 and 5.
Well, those can be executives, can't they?
The budget cannot be an executive.
All right, I just wanted to make sure can we put it in new business or? You had asked about what we would like to have done and get it on the next year's budget.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I wanted to talk about.
Okay, yeah, that can be under new business or it could be under me, either way.
Okay, I'll bring it up under
Okay,
The city clerk.
okay, so,
And what about the second amendment to the housing development contract for the 5 houses they're putting up, or they have planned to put up?
We just put it under Stafford County, good, you will.
yeah, we can talk about all of that under,
Okay.
after we're done talking about the CDBG again.
Okay.
So you probably only need a motion for the executive?
Correct.
And then, could I add a 5-minute executive session for legal matters or attorney-client matters?
I'd make a motion that we add a 5-minute executive session to discuss attorney-client privilege.
I have a motion on the table. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries 5.
I'll make a motion for 10 minutes for non-elected personnel.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. Are there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Are there any other additions to the agenda this evening? Okay, do we have any citizens' comments this evening? All right. Okay, moving on to Stafford County Economic Development, the CDBG grant for Hood Havens building.
Okay. I'm going to prepare a statement to read to the council before we get into that. And I will leave this as well. It's signed by myself as well. So, to the City Council of St. John, Stafford County Economic Development Incorporated is a 501c3 that was formed in 2011. The organization's early projects included youth entrepreneurship activities and small business loans, both of which we still offer. The first large project was the construction of the grocery store building that now houses the White's Food Liner and Pharmacy. We still own that building. From its inception, Stafford County Economic Development has been a strong partner with St. John City Council and other municipalities in the county. We work to develop needed projects in the communities we serve, as well as assist the cities and other nonprofits in fulfilling their goals. Our mission statement is Stafford County Economic Development strives to achieve local economic growth by supporting businesses and industry, fostering employment opportunities, improving housing, and cultivating amenities that improve quality of life and encourage the population to grow. In terms of questions about decision-making and oversight, Stafford County Economic Development has a 7-person board of directors that is representative of the county. This board oversees the activities of the organization and empowers the executive director in fulfilling the activities set forth in the organization's mission. The executive director discusses major decisions in organizational direction with the board of directors but makes day-to-day decisions. The executive director is the only staff member that attends board meetings. The board meets monthly and is governed by its bylaws. Current board members, and this is also on our website. The board president is Jeff Barney. Vice president is Travis Allen. Secretary is Tyler Axman. Treasurer is Matt Appleton. Additional board members are Keith Lamb, Angela Peterson, and Hannah Brummer. Stafford County Economic Development has 3 staff members. Myself, the executive director, Brian Russell. Strategic projects, Carolyn Dunn. And an office administration that we just hired this last month, Sarah Hampton. Since I have become the executive director of Stafford County Economic Development in May of 2023, we have been awarded over $250,000 in grants for projects and programming, created 2 endowment funds through matching programs totaling more than $25,000, in addition to the MIH KHRC grant, which is for the 9 houses that are being built in the county, which will bring $1 million in state funding into the county over the next year and a half. Signed by myself. Okay.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right. So I put together an MOU. It's a draft that is based off of CDBG, having a discussion with CDBG of what is a normal draft agreement between a city doing a project and an organization or building owner of that project. And I'm hoping that something like this, or you can, if you have suggestions to add to it, can be a document that we use to move forward with doing the CDBG grant in partnership with you guys to renovate the Hoods Haven building. Mark, you've been gone, and so we've been talking a few council meetings about the Hoods Haven building and our plans to develop it.
Okay.
We have a couple companies that are interested in buying it once we renovate it. I can't talk about those companies right now, but for the budget, because the budget will come out of the preparation of doing the grant,
Okay.
which will include, we have to hire a grant administrator as well as an architect who will look over the building, and then the budget will come out of the report of architect,
Okay.
and then we will apply.
Okay.
And the reason why we're talking about this is the CDBG, the city has to be the grant, on the grant, and we'll fulfill the responsibilities of the grant.
Council have any questions, comments, or concerns?
So what's your question to us?
Well, I would like to have a memorandum of understanding with you guys and move forward with the grant. And that's my proposal, is that we move forward with the CDBG grant.
Move forward with it. The question I had was the same one I had last time we met.
Mm.
And I hate keep bringing up the past, but it's something that is not, I don't get. We get one sheet of paper, when we get a verbal from Pam that you asked her to present this to us, so we would sign off on it.
Yep.
Because a nonprofit can't apply for the grant. The first sentence, and I didn't bring it with me, I forgot my notebook, the first sentence of that sheet of paper she gave us said it's for private business owners, okay? So, is that you?
It's private property owners, so it's owners of property. So it can be companies, it can be owners of the property, whoever that is.
So, specifically, a nonprofit can apply for it,
We cannot, because you have to be the one that applies.
but we're not the owner.
Right.
We're supposed to be the pass-through
Yep.
from the owners, private citizen owners,
Yep.
pass through to get this money given back to us after the money, not us, but whoever does it.
Yep.
You get paid back after the work is done.
Sure.
So my question I haven't read this, I'm not prepared to vote on it until I have more time to research it. Is it ethical that knowing what was said versus what was written on the piece of paper to move forward with this contract, knowing that we're gonna be held liable if something goes wrong?
Well,
That's
when
what
I
this
read
document-
that.
That's
So-
why this
so-
contract is
This
for,
document.
So
Okay, I
to
haven't-
waive us.
I haven't read it.
And to answer that, Aaron, I've been talking to Ryan. He got some language from CDBG. I put it into this memorandum of understanding, sent it to him for his review. Basically, the way these grants work, the city has to apply for it, but the benefit of it is it's money that comes in, helps the community, and then this agreement puts all the responsibility for complying with the grant, repaying if anything happens on economic development.
There's no exposure to the city.
The exposure would be if economic development ceases to exist and the grant gets revoked. That would be the point where the city would be stuck,
And what if,
having to come back with something. But as long as economic development exists, this agreement says they're the one that's responsible for repaying every part of the grant if it gets.
and as far as the two businesses, last week you said you had two
Yep,
buyers.
yeah, potentially, yeah.
Was there a letter of intent or anything that they're gonna buy it, or are they
Not at
just
this point.
prospects?
They're prospects, we've had several discussions, yes.
Okay, and based on the prospects, is it a collective venture, or are there two individual projects that are totally removed from each other that want the building?
They're two completely different ones.
So as far as going out, the way I read that contract is, you want this, we'll get the architecture plans after you get the grant.
No, we'll do the architecture before.
Architecture.
So
We
what-
have to do the architecture before the grant is applied for.
And
the grant-
who's paying for that?
We are. Yeah.
And is there any, can you give us a general idea of what type of business is? I mean, are we just
I'm not at
supposed to
liberty
put
to
a
say.
blindfold on and just,
I'm not at liberty to
Trust.
say because I don't have an agreement with them yet.
is it a restaurant, is it food
Are they
industry?
both in the same?
They're
field?
not, they're different
Different?
types of companies.
Okay, and there's nothing that you
And they
can
use the space differently, so therefore, if we move forward, I would work with them, with the architect to define what it would be. I would have an agreement, once I know that we can move forward with the grant.
Okay. Well, at that time, when we get, if things start to go, I'd like to know a lot of the impact on the citizens of St. John and the city itself in regards to taxes, in regards to jobs, into
Mhm.
services, things like that. You know, I think council would be very interested in that, so
Sure.
when our constituents do talk to us about it, we are able to let them know exactly what we know coming from the horse's mouth.
Sure,
Okay.
for sure.
Anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Ryan, what order do the steps need to happen? Do you need this agreement with the city first?
Yeah, I
Then
need
you can
this-
start applying for the grant.
Yeah, so I need an agreement with the city, and I will hire the architect, which we already have a couple quotes from architects. And then they will do their assessment, their report, they'll tell us how much it's gonna cost to renovate the building. Then we would apply for the grant with that information. And we have a grant administrator already that would be doing that work and applying, which is required. We have to have an outside grant administrator that is certified by CDBG to do that. We already have one.
I mean, so this takes, I guess you said you've been talking to Ryan about
Yep.
this.
And-
So this takes the majority of liability off the city.
Correct.
And the city, I mean, we're a pass-through, but how much paperwork does that put on Pam? I mean,
He prepares it all. I'm just the middleman between him and you guys. If you have paperwork, I can forward it to you, but as far as all the work he does.
does it complicate things coming through the city? Like, say the architect costs $15,000, then we have to vote on that invoice because we're paying that bill as a city. Would that be accurate?
Well, you wouldn't pay for anything until the grant's already delivered. So I pay for everything ahead of time. And then once the grant is awarded, then you would be paying for that. What I mean is,
So
I'm
you're writing
answering
the-
his question.
So you're writing the check.
Yes, I'm writing a check.
Okay,
Yes.
so then grant gets awarded and then contractors are being paid.
Yeah.
Then that comes to the city, we have to vote
Yeah,
on
and
those
we would-
invoices,
yeah.
because we're paying,
Yeah.
the city is writing a check,
Mm-hmm.
because the grant money is coming to the city.
Or is the city writing one check to you, or writing out checks for every invoice? that-
Yeah, how does, I guess,
Yeah.
I think it's, I mean, it sounds like it's minimal work for us, and it's good to renovate something downtown. I mean, assuming that the business does well for the city, I mean, it'll be a lot better than an empty building with a bunch of stuff in it.
Mm-hmm. With
But-
with other state projects we've done, so with the county is over the housing project technically, and they sign documents. But with implementation, we are doing that. So we request a check from them for ARPA, but we pay out everything. And so it works like that. So I don't think, I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think that there would be a lot of checks going out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
We-
didn't know if everything had to be paid from the city because we are receiving the grant, so
Yeah.
the state is gonna write St. John, City of St.
Mhm.
John,
Yeah.
a check to us.
We would actually act like a general contractor.
Okay,
So you would pay us, we would pay first, and you would pay us, we request funds that way.
okay.
So
Could you say that again?
we would basically act as a general contractor, and that's like managing the project. That's
Right, I get that. What'd you say after that?
Yeah, so we would, I would talk to Pam, Pam would request funds, and then we would pay the contractors. But you would have all access to the invoices and everything like that.
Correct me, the way I remember reading that contract is that we get reimbursed after it's been paid.
Yeah,
So
we
this is
would,
a payback grant, not
yeah.
get the money.
Yeah, we would
upfront.
pay, yeah, then
You would-
we would request funds after it's paid.
So you get the grant, get your contract, once you get your architecture plans,
Mm-hmm.
then is it a crapshoot if they're gonna cover all of it? When you get reimbursed
No, it would be a set grant amount that they would cover.
for architecture
Yeah,
plans in general?
yeah.
So then you get the, I guess we would get the bill, right? Since we're the one hiring.
No. So that part has to be done before they apply for the grant. So they're gonna pay for the architect, correct?
Yes.
And then once we get the grant, once we've been approved, the grant is in our bank account, that's when we're gonna start paying for stuff.
Once he submits,
Yes.
Correct.
I guess all the authorization for the development is on him.
Yes.
Correct.
And then, so once you get it, it's a for sure thing, like, they may not,
We won't do any construction or pay anything out until the grant's approved. We don't ever do that. So, yeah.
They're not gonna pay for an architect until we say, yeah, we're willing to be the pass-through.
Yes.
The grant can't happen without us being the pass-through. Cause CBDG is for cities to apply
It's
for.
for
No
the
one else can
government,
apply.
yeah.
So that's the only reason he's having us do it, is because that's the only way the grant works.
so the first step is you apply for it and you have to get awarded
Yes.
the grant. Once
Yeah.
you get awarded, is there a second step we have to sign on? Sign off
We would
on?
have an award, but there would probably be a grant agreement that we would have to sign. That would have the stipulations of everything
The
and
city.
how much the amount is. Yes, the city.
Okay, so you apply, we give authorization, you apply for it, you get awarded it,
Mhm.
and then what happens after that? There's a time limit for it to be,
Yeah, they would tell
Valid.
us, they would give us like deadlines for different, like project deadlines. And then we would follow that and do that.
what would happen if both your prospects pull out? Then what's gonna happen?
The grant's not contingent on economic development then selling the property.
Yeah,
It's
that would
contingent
be-
on economic development doing the work. So as long as economic development doesn't work, they say they're going to in the application and provides proof that they've done it, the grant's good. It doesn't matter if they do the work and then can't sell the building. The Department of Commerce is happy if the work's done.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And we will sell the building to someone. So we're not gonna hold on to it. We have no interest in holding on to it.
Okay, but if these two prospects don't pan out? I mean, if you, I mean, I don't know how it works in your world. I would think you'd have a letter of intent.
Yeah, I mean, if
commitment
we're, if.
to start the work.
Yeah, so when I do have those conversations with them, if we're building it to spec to what they want it to be, we will have a contract with them, and we'll have a purchase price in the contract for what they would purchase it for.
I mean, worst case, they have a revamped building with no money.
And they can like, do
75%
whatever.
paid for by the state.
Yeah.
When during that time, will we have a meeting, is the prospect of buying the building?
Yeah, once I have a contract, I can share that. Yeah.
I mean, reading this, I'm comfortable with it, but if you guys need another meeting to read it over and be more comfortable with it, then that's fine. But if you guys are ready to do it, I'd be willing to make a motion. But
If Danny clears this of the liability, I mean, I'm confused by what the holdup is. I mean, we could beat Ryan down for 2 meetings over it.
Beating them down, I said, just ask them questions.
Yeah, but
For
he's taking a
clarity.
building that has no potential and revamping it. As long as Danny clears the liability, I guess I don't understand why we're needing 2 meetings to ask a million questions.
I think that, I think asking as many questions as we can, regardless how redundant they may be, I think it's prudent for us to do so. I think that we need to cover each and every one of our bases, but I also see the point that we need to move on and move on this as quickly as we can. That building has been sitting vacant, minus all of the junk inside, which really isn't junk. It's stuff that could be reused for other things, education and whatnot. Regardless, I've read a lot of the paperwork on this. I'm still not really understanding quite a bit of it, and I would like to read through this one more time. But if the rest of council is ready to move on, then I don't have a problem if someone makes a motion to approve this memorandum of understanding.
do we need a motion for this and then a motion to be the pastor? Or how does that work?
I think it would be a motion to agree to work with economic development on obtaining the CDBG grant, or agreeing to, apply for that on behalf of them and enter in this memorandum of understanding.
With this, okay.
Yeah, and again, it's not removing 100% of liability. It's a small chance they're asked to repay the grant, but the liability would be if that chance happens and then economic development ceases to exist, then the city would be left holding the bag with those 2 pretty small chances. But it's not 0% liability.
Do you know the
grants.
dollar amount that we might be on the hook for?
Do you have a dollar amount, Ryan?
I think the maximum is $75,000 would be max. Amount that would have to be paid for the grant.
You say
That's what you're applying.
That's what it would be like maximum like 300,000 would be the grant. I don't think we'll take that much. So, yeah. I'm sorry, I was saying 75,000, like that would be our part to pay for the project.
But that would be if EcoDevo ceases to exist.
And
Which,
and Commerce asked for the grant.
right, if Commerce asks for the grant and EcoDevo just
And-
ceases to exist, which is,
Is it one or the other, or?
Well, no, I mean,
Both.
but
Be
both
both.
would have to happen for the city to be left
With
holding the
potentially-
bag.
and for EcoDevo to cease to exist,
Well,
the county would
And
have to.
then on top of that, the grant funds would have had to have disappeared too. So for some reason, the city
mean,
would have
it's-
had to have dispersed the grant funds, even though economic development ceased to exist
Yeah,
and the grant terms weren't met. So it would take a pretty narrow set of circumstances to make that fit. You almost have to have somebody embezzling money or something at that point, just faking like the work's being done, and then taking off with it, but.
I mean, I think it'd be good for St. John, and it's not zero risk, but nothing we do ever is.
I understand that, but also know that people are gonna be asking, well, what's gonna go in there,
Right.
what are we getting, and that's.
It's important to answer
Right.
the constituents' question.
Right.
So, does anybody else have anything else they want to discuss on this? Does anybody?
My concerns are basically that.
But if he doesn't get his grant money, how can he enter an intent with someone?
Yeah, I see that too.
That's a vicious circle.
If we don't get the grant,
And he would be
Then he- then we
betraying
have
anybody's
nothing.
trust.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think this is, yeah, that's,
I think it's all a big chance here. So,
So we need a motion for this memorandum of understanding, or to be
yeah, I
an
think
agreement with for to be the pass.
I would say, a motion to agree to apply for the CDBG,
grant
what's
on,
the commercial rehabilitation grant, on behalf of Stafford County Economic Development, and enter into the memorandum of understanding reflecting the parties' duties.
maybe. I'd make a motion that the city of St. John enter an agreement with the Stafford County Economic Development Incorporated to apply for the CBDG commercial development grant, while also going into this memorandum of understanding as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All in favor? All right, motion carries 5-0. All right.
And
There you go.
I'll get you a new one that doesn't have draft
Yeah, that's fine. Of course.
in the header on
Do you guys want me to stick around to talk the addendum to the contract? I know Aaron, you'd want us to make a new addendum that had updated dates on it.
What, I didn't bring that contract with me. What was the delay from the time you got awarded the grant to the time the 4 houses at 1,100 square feet was supposed to be done? Was it 2 years?
I can give you the timeline. We applied, I think the fall, so like 2022, I think we applied. We were sent back and said we had to adjust some things in the grant. And we reapplied last June, a year ago June. And then in that application process, we were awarded in October of 2023. So we were awarded in 2023. And then it takes a while for the state to have their documents ready for us to set up the project. And then we had to acquire all the properties from the land banks, from the St. John Land Bank and the Stafford Land Bank, get all those documents ready, start the loan process with the bank on the first 2 houses, even though we haven't used them, use the loans, and then do contracts with HOI based on the quotes. We did quotes on the houses after we were approved to double check the financials on the houses. And that took a few months to do that. And then we finalized our pricing. We entered into agreements with HOI, and then they had agreements with the contractors. And then the building started, I think like April was when it started.
When that contract was written, you must have been, somebody, I don't know if it was you, must have been figuring out by the time it was awarded to the time that the houses were supposed to be done. Whatever that timeline is, I think it should be, for the sake of you being a developer and
Sure.
keeping your contract in check, I think we should move whatever that time frame is, forward.
Okay,
So if it was supposed to be awarded to you, if you applied for it in November and you got it in June, how many months is that? 7? Push it out 7 months from whatever September of this year,
okay.
plus 7 months, and then you're covered, because at the end of September, you're not non-performance. So I just think you'd want that in check. I want it in check, this, so we know.
I think we would do an addendum with you guys on our contract, just to put the timeline out there. But we're okay on our timeline with the
Getting-
state and the contractors.
Getting 4 done by the end of September?
No, with the new dates, we already have that, in place. When the grant was awarded, the dates were reset, based on the grant time it was awarded.
But they
Well-
didn't with our contract.
But we didn't do an addendum
Yeah.
with you guys, but we can, is what I'm saying.
I would like to
Okay.
get done. Does anybody else have an opinion?
You,
Sure.
were
I mean, it covers
you
it.
were asking about council.
Yeah, I talked to Ryan about.
Oh, okay, I didn't know,
Privately.
you got this.
Yeah, no, I've got my question too.
Oh,
Okay.
That,
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with the addendum, just, yeah, it covers you more than it does us. so-
Okay, sure.
I think that's fine.
Okay. Is there anything else? No? Okay.
Do we need an agreement to go in to have the addendum added, or?
I would wait until
Oh,
you
that's great.
present it.
Okay,
Then we'll go
I'll
from there.
work on that and I'll send it to Pam
Sure.
for you guys to review, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks for having me.
You too. Okay, moving on to consent agenda. I need to have a motion for a regular council meeting, July 18th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of a regular council meeting, July 18th, 2024.
second.
Okay, I have a motion by Aaron and a second by Aaron. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, appropriation ordinance numbers 080624 AP in the amount of $245,614.55.
Make a motion that we approve appropriation ordinance 080624 AP in the amount of $245,614.55.
I have a motion on the table. Do I hear a second?
second.
Okay, Sarah seconds. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. All right, petty cash in the amount of $363.35.
Make a motion that we approve petty cash in the amount of $363.35.
All right, I have a motion on the table by Aaron. Is there a second?
Second.
And Aaron Raines seconds the motion. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. All right, moving on to department heads. Curtis,
I got nothing.
anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns for Curtis this evening? All right. Water department, Jason.
Well, the only thing I have is for the water pickup, the old cop vehicle, police vehicle to pick up. If you had some paperwork there, and I got took it down here to Fisher, and he did not have the time to work on it. Plus the parts were going to take over 6 months to get. So he told us to take it to Marmies, and that's what we did, and we should put the print out in there.
It's under new business, so yep, it's that one right there. Yes, sir.
And, that's gonna be the total cost of Ryder Road up there to get everything done on the front end.
What year is that pickup?
14,
How many miles? Ish.
can't recall.
It's gotta be at least 90.
Do what?
It's gotta be at least like 90. We
Some
had it, it was at 80.
An expensive repair.
Do
It had issues. We got rid of
The main thing went out of it was as we were going, we were getting ready to turn a corner, and I was sitting in the passenger seat, and the power steering went out, and he could not get it shut, so we had to kind of stop it real quick, and so he could sit there and grind it over. And so then we made it our way down there, and then that's when he told us to take it up there. And then they found more problems with the front end, and so that's That's what's going on.
Yeah.
What were you getting at, cost of the repair versus the value of the truck?
Yeah, I mean, it's $7,000. 70,
I did some pricing on the vehicles, and
I mean, yeah, new pickups are crazy. Yeah.
used
But-
pickups are crazy.
Yeah, vehicles in general, but that's one that hurts.
Council have any other comments or concerns or questions?
Well, it's less expensive than a new truck. How's it, would it run with the budget or the financing on your end? Would it count?
It's fine,
It's
we
fine.
budgeted for vehicle repairs, so.
I was just thinking about that, and that's why I looked on used pickups, but then again, this could be just like a used pickup we got from them, you never know what's gonna be wrong with that one.
Yeah.
At least we're dwindling this one down to where it's gonna have hardly nothing there. And that's what's, I'm not saying it's good about it, but at least this didn't completely go down on us completely.
Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns for Jason or on truck issue? No? Okay, moving on to Street and Park Department, Jason again.
I was just, did I get the okay to go ahead and,
No, we need a motion.
Oh, that's right, my apologies.
Well, can I just make a motion to approve the estimate printed on August 2nd, 2024 by Marmies in the amount of $7,263.42.
Okay,
Why is the suggestion service different than the total estimate by $130?
Oh,
yeah.
awesome.
Shop supplies, probably.
I just went with the lady told me, that's why I wrote it down.
Yeah, their printout just has two different numbers, a suggested total and a total estimate. And they're different numbers.
Which one's higher?
It's the taxes
The suggested.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there'd be more than $130 in taxes.
Well, we shouldn't be charged tax anyways
I
on
know.
that, so.
Yeah.
I would say just approve the bid, but leave the amount out, and then once we get the bill, I'll bring it back to the table and you guys can approve the final amount on that. Just so, give them approval to work on the truck, not to go above $8,000. I guess you can set
Yeah,
the
so we
limits
probably
too.
don't put a limit on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, so it's just, they don't go above 8.
All right.
Sorry.
No, that's a good catch. Make a motion to approve the estimate from Armies printed on August 2nd, 2024, not to go above $8,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Anybody have any more questions, comments, or concerns for Jason under the Street and Park Department? Okay, thank you, Jason. Okay, Police Chief, Chief Perez.
First, this weekend on Saturday, we have our LEPC drill that we'll be doing. I was gonna talk to the city crew and see if you guys wanted to be involved in that too. Can't really say much about the drill, what we're doing, because we kinda wanna be training for the whole county, so I can't tell you what the drill is. But Saturday morning-ish, you'll probably see a lot of first responders.
Is it like an emergency service drill, pretty much?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then, I guess does anybody have questions about that?
What does LEPC stand for?
Local Emergency Planning Committee.
Okay. No, I just was curious what the acronym was.
Yeah, we have a Facebook page now. So,
You're welcome to be part of it.
yeah.
Anybody can. Public one.
So, I mean, the drill, the people who are included, I mean, it's pretty much every agency in Stafford County. I mean, EMS, fire, emergency management, dispatch, law enforcement. We even have other agencies coming for mutual aid to assist in the drill. So the school's involved. Like city crew workers can be involved. I just didn't know if anybody would be available on Saturday if they wanted to come out and help with that. I can give them more information, but it's not public, so. And then, are you guys aware of our vehicle issue? Our silver Durango was in an accident. So we're down a patrol vehicle, so we just have 2 right now. So we were already looking into getting another used vehicle soon from KHP, which they weren't getting that vehicle in until August 8th, which it was turned in early, it was turned in today. It actually had more damage than what they thought. It had some transmission issues, but it was fixed. But I guess there's a bunch of damage on the hood, some dents, and they were gonna get an estimate to see what it was to fix that. But the estimate that I was provided was $35,000 for that. And it would be the same what we did last time when we got the silver Durango to use Durango from them, 49,000 miles, which it was more expensive this time. But then, on top of that, you gotta think about the tow bill, because we'd have to tow it to our outfitter to pull all the stuff out of the Durango and put it in the new Durango, like our Axon, our dash cams, and our radar and our radios and whatnot. So I reached out to Serve, which is there in Andover. That's where we take our vehicles to get our lights and sirens and cage and gun racks and all that stuff. And they actually had a demo vehicle that was built by them that has everything in it, ready to go. It's brand new. The estimate that did you guys all get that estimate?
Yep.
In your package? Okay. Was $54,000. And if you look at the bottom, that's for everything for the installation and everything.
So the plan with KHP would be to pull what lights could be salvaged and everything off of the current silver.
So the KHP vehicle would come with lights. It would come with that.
Okay. But then the cage and everything else would come out, but this has all that?
Yeah,
So
so-
that would all just be stocked or extra or?
Well, nothing from the Durango would be extra except for the lights in the cage.
Okay.
Because this vehicle actually comes with the cage, the one from Serve that you guys got the estimate for. It comes with the cage.
Yeah.
And gun lock system. So we would have weapons racks in the new vehicle already.
Right.
Because the radar will have to pull and put in this, because the radar, the radios, and the dash cams we'll have to use those out of our existing Durango.
So what does it cost? So it's 35,000, then what does it cost us more to take it to them and do that?
So it would probably be at least, looking at their estimate, would be at least 3,000 for them to reinstall in that vehicle, and then probably another 1,000 to break it down and take everything out of it. So
So you'd
it'd
be close to 40.
40.
And how many miles does that demo have on it?
None. It was a brand new vehicle. I mean, it's probably got like maybe 100 miles, maybe.
Okay.
So Serve, they're out of Andover, and they buy vehicles. They get them at a government rate, I believe, and then they put them together for agencies. They outfit vehicles for agencies all over the state of Kansas, and so they're just like a one-stop shop. They do everything there. They even do graphics, but I'll still do graphics here just because we have somebody who does it locally and she does a good job. So,
Who does
but
that?
Michelle Houston, she's done all of our graphics on the vehicles and never had issues with them, so pretty cheap. So.
I didn't know that got done locally.
Yeah. But everything else, I mean, and they do good work. We've never had issues. They've done all of our cages that we have. They've had to fix our lights that we've taken our vehicles to other places, and they were installed backwards, and they actually were like, we'll just fix it for you, like it's not your fault, and they fixed it for free when I took the Durango there last time. They fixed it, or it was a pickup actually, and they fixed it for us. So, I don't know, this month I told him about our situation, cause usually you're like 2 to 3 months out, and I told him, I said, well, we're down a patrol vehicle. And he really, it's just like, if your council approves it, like, I'll pay for it.
Do we have any idea what insurance will be on the settlement?
I mean, as far as I know, they totaled the vehicle, but as far as the amount we're getting back, I have not heard back yet. So,
If it's less than 20,000, roughly, we won't have the money in the equipment fund to pay for this.
no, yeah, pretty much.
So
I'm
we have
hoping
30.
for 38, I believe, is what we have. Yeah, 35, I'm sorry, in what
We need-
they have saved, so.
If we get 20,000, then we basically have our equipment reserve wiped out.
Pretty much.
And are there gonna be more incidentals that we're not thinking about? Yeah, that we need to figure in for graphics,
The graphics are like $300.
anything else you might think about? So what's the amount? What's the round, if we made a motion, what are we looking at?
Have to be this number. right?
Yeah, cause if to add the
The
graphics
54.
and everything, it'll be under her spending limit, so you guys don't need to approve
Yeah,
that
this is all
part,
that's needed to
so.
Purchase it.
We paid $29,600 for the car that got wrecked 2 years ago. I
I
looked that
think
up.
so, close to 30, yeah.
But then we paid more after that when we got
The cage,
The
the gun
cage, 'cause it didn't come
rack,
with
and
the
the
cage, and
camera, all of that installed.
and
and
getting it all installed.
I think just the camera installations alone on all 3 vehicles is like 10 grand, not
And this,
including.
and also this already has a console too that would, and so our radios would go right into it, and it has all the wiring and stuff, so we wouldn't have to pay for that like we did last time. The radios are ready to be put in, and we have the radios. So, that's also another expense that we would be looking at with the KHP vehicle, which, and I don't even know how far out that one is now, because now, since it got turned in with more damage than what they were told, they had to contact insurance to come out and assess the damages and see what it would be to fix it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a fan of having nice equipment and taking care of it because then it lasts longer. But at the same time, we're a small city and don't put a lot of miles on vehicles. So
yeah.
that's the other hand is, do we need something that doesn't have any miles on it? But
But I also don't know how I feel about getting a vehicle that was wrecked and had transmission issues,
well, I agree with that sentiment as well. But
because we don't get to see it. We have to get it, go under contract with them, and then just hope it's what they say it is. Or they'll give it to the next person in line. Because you're on a waiting list, because I contacted them a while back and it just fell backwards.
Okay, Chief, anything else? Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this issue right here? Does anybody want to make a motion?
so what? I guess Pam, what happens if we approve this? We've got 35 in that budget. Then insurance comes back and says the value of that vehicle is 15.
So we're gonna have to pull money somewhere, like in her budget, there is capital outlay line item for stuff like this, which it doesn't have enough money in it if it's come in at 15. So we can always pull it from the transfer amount that she's going to be transferring out at the end of the year, because she transfer $15,000 each year into equipment reserve for new vehicle. So if that was to come less than what we were expected, we might not do a transfer for this year and use that money to pay for this new vehicle, which means she's going to have to wait longer to build that reserve fund back up.
Is it allowed to pre-spend stuff that's going to transfer?
I'm sorry.
Like, so that's coming out of a transfer that's coming but not yet here.
Oh,
Is
like
it allowed to
be spent?
like, okay, I know I'm getting a transfer at the end of the year, but I'm going to spend that money today. Like, is that?
Like before it
Yeah, I
was
mean,
there.
Is that?
I mean, technically it
I'm
won't.
not an accountant, so,
So,
I'm like,
yeah,
I just didn't, is that
I
allowed?
get
Like, to
it.
do
No,
that?
so if we were to use that money, then we won't do that transfer at the end of the year. That money is there. It's reserved for that transfer to be carried over next year. So we already have that 15,000 just sitting there, and we're gonna not use it because we're gonna transfer it next year. And if we have the need to use it, then we use it and not transfer it, not carrying
So
it
it's
over.
in the fund
Yes,
from this year's budget, so really
Correct.
the fund has 50,000,
yes.
but it's split within the fund.
Correct.
As
Into a
like,
different
we're
line
gonna push
item.
this.
Little, we're using this for this, and we're using this for this, and we can. There's room to where you can finagle things around. Like, let's say if this year she's going over her vehicle repair budget, like $2,000, but she's way under in her salary line. So some of that, the budgeted for salary will covers her vehicle repair, if that makes sense.
Okay.
As long as her total budget for the year is not over, the line item can be over.
So the money is there, it's just not there and allocated,
Correct.
okay,
Yes.
to this cause.
Yes. I feel like I'm gonna hate you. I talk with my hand and I'm just like, I'm gonna sit over here.
Do I hear a motion on the table?
How soon do we have to let them know, Tori, about the serve one?
I told him I'd let him know tomorrow if it was a yes or a no, so, because there's other people in line, so.
Yeah.
I guess another question, do they just do Dodge Durangos? Are you happy with the Durangos? Or if you can survive, would there be a different option around the same price and you're like, oh, I'd really rather have this?
I
around
think
town?
Durangos are fine. We don't need a huge SUV. I think it's dumb for people to be tall. That's way too big.
Sure.
We don't really need a pickup. Pickups are way more expensive.
Okay.
We also carry a lot of equipment in vehicles because most of the time it's only us on, so we have everything that we need in there to respond to anything. So to go any smaller, that would really not be.
No, I just didn't know if you're like, well, this is what they have today, but
Yeah.
if we could survive a couple months with two, you know, is there
Yeah.
one that would suit our needs any better? But or if this is what you like.
Yeah, I like the Durango personally. Either way, Durango is really our only option because if we didn't go with this one, KHP is really our only option right now. I mean,
I didn't know if the serve company does different ones and if you're willing to
I
wait.
think I've seen like chargers and stuff there when because when I go up there, there's like hundreds of vehicles there, but mostly it's Durangos. I think they'll give you whatever.
Any more discussion? Any comments, questions, or concerns for the chief? Okay.
Or is this on this
Are
matter
we-
or something else?
Are you guys wanting to wait on this?
Yeah.
Or are we,
I'd rather go the used route.
okay,
I think we got along good with the one we traded for. I don't know that it's necessary to have a brand new vehicle. We'll say $15,000. We can get that and know even if our insurance money's $10,000, we're gonna have plenty in there.
I guess my question is, how are you getting along now with, what are you swapping people
Mainly
in
we
cars?
just swap around because our shift changes at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm not gonna get up at 4 a.m. to switch vehicles.
Right.
But the biggest thing is when there's something and we need backup, then somebody doesn't have a patrol vehicle to respond and assist that person, and I don't really mind taking my personal vehicle, but I've had to do it because they need backup, we gotta go, so.
What did KHP say roughly? I mean, they're waiting for insurance, and dent repair doesn't take terribly long, but if that's all it is.
Well, they just said, I'm not sure, they said the hood came in with a lot more dents in it than they weren't aware of. So, I don't know, I got this email here where it said it had front bumper, radiator support, left headlamp, and fender replaced. So I'm assuming that's already done. And then he emailed back today and said that it came in with more damage than they thought. It had 49,311 miles on it. It has dents in the hood, and we'll have to get estimates and get it repaired first. So
What color is that one? Just out of curiosity.
it's black. It's a 2021.
One. Yeah, I mean I get knowing the service history and all that, but I kind of agree with Kyle.
Yeah.
We're a small town. We're not running the highway. We're kind of in town, and
I guess I could ask how I should have asked him what it would be to strip that vehicle and put it in a different one.
How long is it gonna take them to get us in to do that?
With us getting a different vehicle and not buying good, it would be probably a month.
Can we buy back our total vehicle?
I'm not sure, I can find out.
I was curious
Yeah,
about
fix
that
it.
too. Fix it.
Yeah, I'll find out and I'll send out emails after.
Some, maybe talk about this next, see what we've got going on and talk about it again next meeting.
So, we're gonna lose our spot in line because I'll have to answer them because KHB already moved us to the front as well, and so did Service. So, if I tell them no, I'm just saying it may not be an option. We may have to wait for a different vehicle from KHB. It should be around the same price though, if that's the route we're gonna go.
yeah.
But I just know it may not be an option.
Yeah. And is our vehicle insurance replaced through Act 360?
Yes.
I would call Trey and see if he can push on the insurance company to get you an answer.
I'll
Yeah.
text him right now.
Yeah, just that way you can give an answer, because if I understand that waiting in line is never fun, and
Yeah.
don't want to make your jobs harder, but I also think the way our city operates, I don't know, brand new is,
We will need, probably a motion at least to approve to get it up to serving and stripped out because insurance wants to get the vehicle in a week. We can't have our axle and cameras in there. So we have like $20,000 worth of equipment in there that we are gonna have to get out in a week. That's not something we can.
I can work with them to see if they can wait a little bit longer, but there's no guarantee on that.
Cause that's at least gonna be probably 4,000.
So they didn't talk about a buyback option at all.
Or unless I didn't even think about asking that option, because I didn't realize that option was available, to be honest. So,
Yeah. So if you can work with the insurance company and hold off, then there's not a need to get that out right away. But you're saying if it goes into a body, is there potential damage with all the dust in the body shop that could ruin the equipment inside? I don't know if that,
I just mean if they're gonna take it, cause Pam said they were wanting to pick it up, they were gonna.
Yeah, like if it's totaled out, the insurance company
Oh,
wants
they
to
just
take
come-
it,
She
so we
said
need
like a
to
week,
get our stuff out.
And
so
I
they
will
can
have to
take
get it in and make sure they can get it pulled up. We have to get the vehicle, we can't drive it there. So we have to tow it, so I need to make sure we can get it there because it's an Andover and make sure they can get us in and get it pulled out in
Right.
time, is what I'm saying.
so,
I can probably find out the answer tonight and then work with the insurance company. If there is an option to buy the total vehicle back, is that the route that you guys are wanting to go? So I
It
can
don't
let
depend on
them
the
go?
cost.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, if it's 20 grand, then probably not, because there's
So
gonna be another.
if I find
8,000
out
to
tonight,
pay
are you guys wanting to have a special meeting sometime this week to visit this so we can get it done? Can maybe call KHP or the SURF and see if they can wait a couple of days to where we can get the answer, and then like tell them like maybe we'll have the answer by the end of the week.
Yeah, I'll ask.
I mean, the insurance company, if we tell them no, you can't pick it up for 2 weeks, that just means they're not gonna write us a check until they have possession, right? I mean,
I think so.
that's ultimately, they're not gonna take it until we release it, but we're also not gonna get our check until we release it, so.
The next meeting is the 20th.
I-
This table unless something comes up that we need to make a decision on, or
I don't
would you
know
have
if we
another
need
idea?
to wait until the 20th, because that's another 2 weeks. I mean, if I can find out some more information tonight, I feel like maybe have a special meeting before Friday to give her the answer whether we're gonna go with KHP or with SURF, so that way we're not losing our spot. Or if we're gonna buy back the total vehicle, then we can let both of them know so they can pass along that vehicle to somebody else.
Well, I thought we sort of, correct me if I'm wrong, we decided to go the used car route to save money.
Sure.
And then the
So-
buyback was just a more inexpensive way.
Right, so I guess let SURF know that we're not gonna go with them, but then
That's
we
what I'm asking, I
still,
thought this is a no-go.
we still have the KHP to respond to hold our spot, so.
So
Well, we
technically,
still have to let SURF know
Right.
about stripping her vehicle. That's who's gonna do it anyways. Because then if they're the only ones who can do it because we have Axon and they're certified to swap that equipment, we're not gonna find anyone else. If we don't use them, then I'll have to call Axon and that's gonna be ridiculous. They'll probably be like
I would say
$30,000.
find out about the buyback option, because we don't even know if it needs stripped, because it doesn't need stripped if we're gonna get it fixed.
Right.
So we can't even tell certain that answer until we know.
Yeah.
So if we need to have a special meeting, I'm fine with that. If it needs to be a quicker timeline on that.
and if it's on Friday, I'll just attend via phone.
That's fine.
Yeah. Because we have to take the truck to get looked at too.
Right.
And then we're gonna have one meeting. So.
Okay. All right, find out all the information that you can, let us know.
Yep.
All right.
I got one
Sure.
concern. I have some people in the community asking me about this. We've got like golf carts, side by sides that drive around and everything, which I think is great. It's the age of drivers that
Yeah.
are doing that.
So
Do we have
people
to-
don't call dispatch, we don't know. I mean, and some of them, like Patrick doesn't know people around here, he doesn't know their age. There's a kid who drives around who's 17 years old and he looks 12. So there's some of these kids who do have, we've been pulling them over.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. That's what,
so-
yeah.
yeah,
that's what
we
I was
pull them
asking,
over, we
but-
make their parents come get them. I mean, we're not gonna write a 14-year-old a ticket.
Right.
I mean, if it continues to happen, but
Right.
we've been pulling them over. I mean, at that point, you know, I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, we pulled over this so and so, like, and I think that's what people want, but I'm not gonna tell
Yeah,
them.
no,
Saying it isn't
that,
being
that was just
addressed.
concern that,
Yeah, yeah,
that I find out.
yeah. If they would call, if these people would call dispatch, have officers out, they would go find them
Right.
and make sure. Yeah, but nobody's
Calling.
Yeah.
Alright.
All right. Any other questions, comments, or concerns for Chief?
Thanks for the information.
Thank you, Chief. All right. All right, moving on. Fire Chief, Chief Sanders. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns for Chief Sanders? Okay.
Someone asked me, how many volunteer firefighters do we have? 15? Okay, I was just curious what the number was. Thank you.
All right. Let's see, City Clerk, Pam.
So the notice to exceed the R&R have been published, and the hearing for that and the 2025 budget is set for September 3rd at 7. So we'll do the R&R first, and then we'll, if you guys approve that, then we'll move on to the budget hearing, and if we are okay with it, then we're gonna go ahead and approve at that meeting, because I have to let the city, the county clerks know by October 1st.
So you said September 3rd was for the R&R and what else?
And the budget hearing,
Okay.
yeah, 25 budget
And then
hearing.
we'll just continue to regular council after that.
Correct, yep, so what we'll do is that we'll have a, the public hearing right after citizen comments, and then we'll go through of that, and then we'll close the
adjourn.
yep,
Yeah.
close the public hearing, and then, go on through our regular agenda. You have questions about the budget?
Oh, yeah, I was wondering, what if, I had somebody ask me about the 9th and West going north of Dirt Road.
Nice. Oh, that little section right
It's just-
there?
They're comparing it to the, from 40th North when the county went out there and leveled that one out.
Uh-huh,
Because I haven't seen it, their concern is if it's dipped down towards the intersection of 9th and West, that it gets tricky when there's water collecting there. And I was
Sure.
wondering so I was wondering what it would cost to rebuild it. Or if that's something we do, or if that's something the county does.
I mean, it's within our city limits, so I'm assuming it's gotta be us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what the cost was and if we could possibly get it on to get it budgeted for next year. I have no idea what the cost is. I just thought, I told them I would ask.
I mean, the first step to do that is to get bids to see the estimate of how much it's gonna be and the distance of basically how long do you want it. I believe our city limits,
They're asking about paving it.
No, just rebuild the dirt road.
oh, like not
to-
paving,
not to
I thought
pave
you
it,
meant
just-
paved
no, no.
it. Oh,
Just
okay.
rebuild it as far as getting it level with the same from 40th going north, which is a
Jason?
county road.
Have you looked at that road?
Yeah, we sloped it that way. So the water
Intentionally?
drained out.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
what I'll
we
tell
did,
them.
it was just puddling and everybody was going everywhere. So we went in there and shaved that bank a little bit and then made that road like this so that water goes down.
I'll pass that on to them.
Yeah.
That does bring up another question. Didn't we approve like over a year ago to fix that concrete hump on West Street?
Yes, and I've been getting on Chris about
Okay.
that, and he's so busy. He
Okay. I
keeps
just-
pushing me
I was
back.
just wondering, I was like, I think we approved that, did we
Yeah,
not?
we did.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
and we have until the end of this year before we have, cause it's from last year budget. So if we're not using that, then I have to do some paperwork to reverse that. Yeah. So I have been getting on
Okay,
him
I
pretty
just
hard.
wanted to- I thought I remembered that correctly, but
Yeah.
I'm
Mine
just
the other day was
like, pride.
I thought we did this.
Yeah.
I never said we were gonna do this. Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. Is there any other? Because I think everything else is under new business that I have to present.
City attorney.
All right. Okay, moving on then. City attorney.
Okay, I think, kind of like Pam, most of what I have either we've talked about, falls under new business, or would be in the executive session, so I don't think I have anything additional.
Okay. Alrighty, and we'll move on to old business. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns about the property code violations?
John, talk about.
Sure. I mean, I had sent out emails asking to revisit this, the bid that you guys wanted to advertise to taking his houses down. It's just that with this job, I was tasked with looking for the betterment of the city, and I feel like the step that we're wanting to take might not be in the best interest. And because I have worked with Kansas Dirt directly, so I know how they are, and I know what they did for us. I don't want to damage that relationship between them and us, by advertising for bids. You know, I don't know if you guys are aware how much it costs to take a house down. I personally have taken a house next door down, and the cost was tremendous. And Kansas Dirt, they have given us, they took, like I said, they took 2 houses down for us for free, and they always give us discounts when they take the houses down for us for the land bank, and they make donations to the land bank to keep the land bank going. I don't feel like this is a good move for us to do, but at the same time, it's not my decisions, it's you
Do
guys.
we know what the bids are for Kansas Dirt to take them down?
They don't, but their prices usually, the
It's
2
basically
house,
what it takes to
yeah,
do it. They don't
if
bid
the
it.
house
They
is,
haven't bid it in the past, they just write what it took to take it down. And so one house might be $5,000 and the next might be 15 because it took 3 times more loads to get all the stuff out.
I really don't think they like to bid when the house is full of stuff, because it's hard to estimate if it's 5 loads or 10. They can't take that stuff out here, it's long hauls to Barnegat.
And I think it's, to Pam's point, I think it's less about being willing to take bids on houses to tear down versus taking bids on houses that we have verbal contract with them that they've already started to plan to take down. And I think it's kind of the same deal with the EcoDevo contract. I think it's a bad look on the city to start backing out on contracts that we've agreed to, whether verbally or in writing. I think I don't mind taking bids on future projects, but I think it would be the wrong move on these 2 specific houses where we have verbal agreements with them.
I agree.
Can we get more information as far as kind of like maybe a timeline? of
we can
kind of what-
definitely, I can get with them, maybe like, can it be down by the end of this year? I mean, you know,
Yeah,
I don't know if,
Can they give kind of us what their timeline is, I guess is what I'm.
yeah, I'll get with that, with, Austin.
Well, my
I
fe-
don't, I'm sorry, I don't mind giving like verbal agreement, but when you give a verbal agreement, that could be 5 years or 3 years or 2, you know what I
Right.
mean? That could be a
Right.
kind of up in the air is my concern, you know?
But the thing is, I don't think we were really pushing them either, you know, maybe if we start
Yeah.
pushing, it might get to where like we get done quicker, or like, you know, pushing us up on the spot of their list. you
Right.
know.
Yeah, I think there hasn't been a lot of pressure, and I don't think Kansas Dirt really makes money on it. So it's just doesn't take precedence. Is
Right.
my assumption of the situation.
Well, a couple of my opinion about these 2 houses has changed. These 2, because I asked you a couple of meetings ago if we had a contract, and you said no. Now it turns out we had a verbal contract, and I think that needs to be honored. And I just think in the future, and Bob has given me a lot of information about how this whole thing started, and I don't want to go into it because he was planning on doing it tonight. He's not here. And that changed my opinion. But the thing is that in the future, I think it's got to be in writing, because I've been coming to these meetings for 1.5 years before I was on the council and now. And I just think there needs to be a time limit. Can you get them down to 90 days or something? Give them, if the council wants to give them first right of refusal, that's fine, but I think it should be in a bid process, and that's just my personal opinion, to make it even. And I know they've done a lot for the city, and I think there's other people who would like to do stuff for the city that may not have the financial means, but by no means do I think they should be kept out of the bidding process.
Well, that's,
And-
yeah, I mean, like he said, just because these are pretty much spoken for, like on, like
I'm okay
future
with that.
projects, you know, definitely, if you wanna bid, yeah, we can
And down on-
advertise for bids.
And this is what I wanted to talk about in the executive session. I just wasn't sure if I could talk about it because it was coming from you
Yeah,
as a
so,
non-elected person, so I didn't want to break any
so
open air
it
meeting.
can, I mean, if we're talking about, the taking the houses down and stuff. You're not talking about me personally,
It's
so
just
it can be.
the communication on the sheet.
Yes, yep, it can be talk in the open
Okay.
meeting, and like I said, you know, this is my honest opinions, and this is to the best of my ability, me looking out for the city. And it's not up to me, it's all up to you guys, because you guys are the decision makers. I just want to make my point to you, just in case, and that's what that email's about.
Well, the other thing I just jotted down here, an unnecessary risk of losing the trust that we have built with Kansas Dirt. And I just think there's other trust factors that
You're gonna lose also, just beside Kansas Dirt, if we're not careful, and that's other people that could possibly be making a living from doing this. And,
Sure,
um,
but like I said, this.
and these two were fine, they were
Yeah,
spoken for.
These two are spoken for, and that's email pertain to these two that's already spoken for.
and something I didn't agree with is it doesn't affect / cost us anything, whether when these two houses will be taken down. In a letter that you had given me previously that you sent to the homeowners,
Which is this one.
which states the code, which is City Code Chapter 4, Article 5, it states on here, and just, I guess I find your statement incorrect, because if you go to Section 4.512,
It's immediate hazard is what we're going after, right?
Correct.
The house.
it says the property owner, since we don't own it yet, right? Or not yet, if we choose to own it. But right now, who's responsible, since there's nobody making sure that it's not a public hazard? It's not, to me, it's like, if we're making, like, there's a fellow that tore down a house on First. I think it's that Eric guy. So he's playing by the rules, you know, got it torn down right away. And then what this says is, should be barricades or cause a property to be vacated, taken down, repaired, shored, or otherwise made safe without delay.
So there is an urgency here.
Have you been by those two houses? All
Well-
of the entrance are barricade off. All of the windows are pretty much like there's window and glass on them, so they can't. I mean, obviously kids can't get in and stuff. Is it 100% safe? No. Does it hurt anything for it to sit in there? No, because the owner have made some sort of improvement, but it's not improvement enough to get it up to code.
Well, like, I guess my issue is we need to treat everybody the same. And if this was, to me, it's a legal thing, without delay means pretty fast.
And but we did, because we put these two houses, we did a abatement process on them. We did our part. We treat them just like we treat this new round of housing. It's all about hand. We're waiting on Kansas Dirt.
That's my
So
point.
that's my point to you, is that we are treating everybody the same.
Okay, so the other house that's on the list, Tompkins, there's really no urgency for her to do it, based on what you just said, because they've made it safe.
Correct.
So it could be a year and a half before they tear it down, and we shouldn't really have an opinion about it.
No.
Okay. That's just what I'm getting at. It's just, it seems like if they're on there, how can we really enforce?
Well, yeah, but I would like, I mean, you said that my statement is incorrect, and I want to point out that your statement is incorrect as well, as far as us not treating everybody the same. We are treating everybody the same.
Well, appearance, I'll just have to agree to disagree with you on this one.
Can we move on to Fifth Street?
I'd like to go over some notes if we're still on this.
Okay.
Unless we can cover it in executive session.
No.
Okay.
We can do it right here unless it's about me.
No, it's not. It's about the information.
Okay.
guess the rest of it will have to wait.
Thank you.
Unless there's anything else more to discuss, moving on to Fifth Street Road by White's Food Liner.
Okay, so attached to your packet, last meeting, you guys have asked to clear up a couple of things. Bobby, there was confusion as far as asphalt versus concrete. He had in his notes that it was asphalt, and he said that, I mean, it's a cheaper way to go. But I asked him to provide us with concrete bid just to see how much it's gonna be if we were to, wanting to go that direction instead. So, the quote that he submitted, as you can see, double of what we have the bid for asphalt. And the other question that Bob had is that concrete, pavement. And that is just for, you know, like a estimate to repair the driveway into White's, or I believe, no, Hample doesn't have the driveway, so just the concrete that's already there. If we were to damage it to build that road, then we have some money set aside to repair it.
Okay.
So that was what the question is. And like I mentioned in my report, that the grant that we're getting from KDOT, if we wanted to change from asphalt to concrete, we're gonna have to come up with that money because they're not putting more money into our project. Joel said that once we are ready to advertise for bids, we can bid it both ways. And if during that time, if the concrete is cheaper, we can go with concrete. Like it doesn't matter to KDOT whether we use asphalt or concrete, as long as the project's done. So.
But it probably will take a little bit more, if they're billing us for hours, EVH is gonna have, if we want to get multiple bids on multiple ways of doing it, then they're gonna have to prepare.
Probably,
If
yeah,
we
there'll
say
be
there's
more
three different
cost.
options of
Yes.
like, we can do all concrete, we can do all pavement, or we can do a mix.
Right.
They're gonna have to prepare three different, even if they're not detailed drawings, you know, three
It'll
different
still be,
specifications of
yeah.
as-built or construction materials for the people to bid on. So there probably will be some extra costs in just bidding more than one.
It's a
It may be worth
possibility,
it, but
yeah.
it's just something to keep in mind.
Right.
The only thing too here I notice is this is all asphalt and this is all concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So we may be able to just increase costs a little bit by doing this 188,000 estimate for the 9-inch concrete till Hample, and then do pavement.
Oh, like mix
'Cause-
them up? Okay.
Yeah, because he's got this as being concrete the entire street, which I don't know that that's necessary, especially if it costs more.
I wondered why it was 350 just to do concrete for 600 feet, but
Yeah,
that
it's
wasn't all, but that's where
188.7
it
is the
okay.
9-inch concrete to
Yeah.
Hample, and then
Yeah,
the
we
543,000 is for the rest of the concrete,
Mhm.
which I don't think we can do that.
Yeah. And I
So-
can definitely work with them on that, and I think from the sound of it, it is very flexible as what we wanted to do as far as like the grant goes, as long as the road is done, yeah, is built.
He
So-
was gonna come, that meeting we had to cancel because of power outage,
Right.
or postpone, I should say, not cancel.
Mhm.
Is he planning to come?
He is
again
still
to
planning
discuss
on
stuff?
the 20th,
Okay.
but he said that if you guys, because we're still waiting to sign the contract. So if you guys wanted to wait until the contract is here and we sign it and we're getting ready to move on to the step 2, he can wait to come then. I mean, or
We
he
had
can.
a contract to look at one point, didn't we? Like a couple
We-
meetings ago?
That's the contract between
Us
us
and
and
EVH.
EVH, not the contract between KDOT and us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's just a contract for them to do the surveying,
Right.
their part, basically.
Did you ever get an answer on the sidewalk we talked about putting on one or the?
Yeah,
The
so,
north side.
so he said sidewalk can definitely be added on one side or both side. It's just, we're gonna have to pay for that.
Right.
Yeah,
Did he give you a number?
know. He said that once we are advertising for bids, then we'll advertise for that, and then we'll look at that and see how much it comes in under.
And also if we're required to put a sidewalk.
No.
I think we're not?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
So do we have an estimate on contract from KDOT?
I mean, it's literally up to them. I mean, it took them like 3 months to grant the
Well,
the
sure.
grant.
I mean, they had to review
so-
all of it, but now they've
Yeah.
accepted it, so I didn't know if that's
Yeah.
a quick process because, well.
I
they've
have
probably
sent
done
out the
lots of
email,
these,
but the girls that was the main contract for us, she doesn't know either because it's above her, so she's still waiting for.
So the
It to
KDOT
come.
share project, 787,000, it's
Mhm.
on the concrete, but it's not on this sheet.
That's the amount that we are rewarded, whether we're going with
So it would-
concrete or asphalt.
So is this an oversight that it's not on this side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can use it for both.
So, I mean, I guess EBH doesn't want to get too in-depth until we actually have the contract with KDOT, basically.
Basically,
'Cause,
yeah.
I mean, what's the chances that they back out if they've awarded us the grant?
No,
I mean,
not 100.
But I guess you don't know until it's a grant.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
As far as like how wide to make the street and all that, is that gonna be just a discussion for like all of that
So
will be
once.
discussed once we have the contract?
Yep, so once we
KDOT.
sign the contract, Joel will be down here and then we'll talk about the thickness, the length, or whatever else we wanna add to advertise for bids, and then we'll let him
Take it
move
from
down,
there.
yep, and then advertise for bids. Yeah. So yeah, it's just, we're just waiting and this is just teasing us, you know, we're
Yeah.
basically.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we add sidewalk by the time you pay for the street lights and sidewalk and make the street wider. It wouldn't surprise me if our share is over 600,000, but it would be nice if it was around that number and we did all those things and then just did concrete for the first bit.
Right.
But
I can definitely find out, but then it's also depending on the price of material, you know, when we're ready to start too, so.
yeah, these are all estimates.
Right. So,
Hopefully it's on.
yeah. Yeah, I think he estimated high, so,
Good.
yep, so that's it for that. The next one is the housing violation, which in my email, I don't know if you guys have been driving by, but the two of the property that I presented last week, the owner have made improvement to the properties. The church over on Second Street, they are going to remodel it completely because they apparently it's like a historical landmark of some sort. It's been here since the town's, you know, here. So I think they wanted to remodel it and they're starting to make improvement on it. They going to start working on the foundation here in a couple of weeks. They patches all the holes and took out all the trees and stuff like that. I mean, it's look a lot nicer. And the other one on West Hooley, they completely took out the back part of the house, and it was just him, and he's on a fixed income, so he's doing a little bit, you know, at the time, just what he can do. So I told him that I don't mind as long as we see progress. We
Is
are
that
willing.
red house?
Huh?
The red house?
Yeah.
on the island?
Yeah.
I didn't notice the one
Yeah. So the owner lives like north of it.
Yeah, they live up on the north end. They have a really big lot.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And so the house on there on the south end is vacant.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, but they're.
But the property owner that lives up
Oh.
on the north
Yeah.
end of the lot is working on it, I think.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I saw they had a dumpster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So yep, he's working pretty hard, but it's been so hot that he can only
Sure.
do so
Yeah, I
much.
get that.
So yeah, and then so the only one on the list is that one on West Street, West 6. Sorry, 209 West 6. In that house, I know the owner had passed away, so I don't anticipate any work being done to it. I had spoke with Danny about title search, and it might be better because I gave most of the owners like until the end of September to see if they make any progress on their houses, and if they don't, then we can definitely put them on the list and do title search and move on. But if you guys wanna go ahead with this property, I can definitely start that process, so it's totally up to you guys.
I mean, I'd be fine with it. It was by far the worst on
Yeah,
the
let's
list.
get going.
Okay.
I mean, the reason why in the past we did them all at once is we didn't wanna pick and choose, cause we had 8 to 10, and the mileage for the title
Sure,
company if they came
yeah.
up here 8 different times, but
Right.
even if we have to do it a second time. I
For the
don't
ones
think-
that are said
Yeah,
they're
that are-
gonna make progress,
yeah, I
I mean,
don't
we need
think
to give
it'll
them good
cost.
faith if they've contacted
Right.
us.
But it was just gonna be if we did them one at a time on like 8,
Sure.
that was just,
Yeah.
that was gonna be.
Yeah, it's totally up to
pricey.
you guys, so I can start that, I'll get with Danny and we'll start that title search on that house, so, and that's all I have.
All right.
Do you wanna cover this water thing?
It's under new business,
Oh, okay.
the
It's the
ordinance,
next thing.
okay.
That's the next thing in the new business, there, the ordinance to update the water rate.
Okay, so, on the table, not on your package, is the update ordinance, version. Danny and I have looked it over and we tweaked some of the legal words on there just to make it clear. But as far as the rate go, I have put a summary in my report just to see, when they presented this, they didn't present, well, they kind of a little bit go into step 2 and step 3, but by the end, you guys ask them to carry on and see what we need to do. So they came up with 3 steps that would be beneficial for us as far as rate increase and stuff go. But even if we approve this today, that doesn't mean that like in 3 years we're gonna do the rate study again. If we're good in 3 years, everything goes as planned, we're watching what we're spending and we're doing good, we can always just amend this ordinance and just keep the rate that we have, you know.
This
So-
ordinance, right?
Right,
Okay.
yeah. So like right now, we're gonna implement step 1. And then like in 3 years, we're gonna do rate study again, cause I think that's what we all agreed to do, rate study every so often. And in 3 years, if we're like, oh, we're doing okay, we're you know, we don't wanna increase the rates, then we
Change
can
the
just,
date on
yep,
stage
we can
2
just
or-
amend the ordinance.
How much did it cost us to do the rate study? What did they charge? You know?
I have not seen the bill yet,
Okay.
yeah. So I can't tell you that for sure.
So what did we approve last time?
We approved the first step,
Okay,
yeah.
which is we're gonna do it. Then somebody had a concern, I don't know who it was about, it's an awful big jump. So is this to help alleviate that initial shock?
No, the initial shock will always,
Did we already,
what's gonna be
did we already,
there.
did we already started charging this?
No,
Yeah, so we had, in one meeting, it was just there was just 3 of us here.
Right.
And so I had tabled it to the next meeting because I didn't feel like a council of 3 should be
Okay.
making this decision. The next meeting we had 4, and so we went ahead
and have them draft
we
out this
we
ordinance.
Oh, is
voted
that-
to
okay.
let
Yeah.
them draft
Gotcha.
an ordinance,
Yeah.
but we haven't accepted the ordinance.
Correct.
So
Okay.
this is, we've told them to do this, and now we have the chance to actually accept the way it's written.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if it's accepted today, then the step 1 of this new rate will be implemented September 1st. And then, you know, in January of 28, the step 2 will kick in. We're not gonna see much of a change in step 2 because it's still an increase, but not very much. But we're definitely gonna see an increase in the charges. Residents are going to notice the difference when we implement the step 1 because we went so long without rates increase.
Right.
So, but after the initial step 1, they won't
Gonna
hardly
feather
know
out.
they won't
Okay.
hardly know the difference.
Yeah. It's a more natural progression, whereas we
Yes.
haven't had a rate change in 23
Correct.
years. So
Yes.
the first step is a big step.
Yes.
All right. Any more discussion?
Danny, you've read through this and come forth wording.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, changes I made were mainly formatting and then making sure that in addition to the current code section, the prior ordinances regarding that, we got listed in the repeal part too. So I didn't change anything. Yeah, really other than formatting with that.
I mean, I think we've kind of beat this one
Yeah,
to death.
we've approved
I'd
it.
say, I'd make a motion to approve the ordinance, 1096-24 as written.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. All right. Excellent, thank you.
So we talked about the patrol vehicle already, unless you guys want to talk about some more. The next item on the list is the item that needs to be, that attached to your package are items that we would like to ask to advertise to get rid of, basically, because these are the items that we either replace or not using it anymore, and there's no need for us to keep it around the shop. So, most of these are pretty, like, I don't know, I mean, it's up to you guys if you guys wanna set limits on it, but maybe the bucket truck for sure set a minimum of something, so that way we're not out money, basically.
How much are we hoping to get off this, or is it just anything's better than?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
besides the bucket truck and maybe the mower, anything that we can get out of it, it's,
Back truck
it's,
might be so bad.
the back truck, I think, what's wrong with the back truck? It's pretty much stripped, right?
The truck is good, it's just the vac isn't going.
Okay, so maybe the back truck, we might wanna set some sort of minimum too.
Yeah, I mean, how have we typically done Purple Wave or Big Iron or what?
We thought about Purple Wave, but there's like auction fee and then they make like percent off of what the total that we auction to. So, I mean, that's an option if we wanna go that route.
The only thing about sealed bids is you put a deadline on it, and then depending on how you advertise, the auction sites, you just have a bigger breadth of, somebody from North Dakota might say, hey, I could fix that back truck and be willing to pay
Sure.
15 grand for something that someone around here is going to give you 2.
Yeah.
And that'd be the only thing, is the breadth of people seeing it is what you're kind of paying that fee for. But I wouldn't do that on a plastic
I
tank.
was gonna say.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, I think you just pick and choose the ones
Sure.
that have some real value, and maybe either do an auction or I don't know, Facebook Marketplace, but then somebody has to manage that, and that becomes a job.
I mean, if
But-
we're gonna do that, we might as well just use Purple Wave because they do everything. They come out, take pictures, assess the value and everything. So, and they monitor the auction for us. So we literally just tell them, hey, we want to put this on, and they do the rest and send us the money minus their fee. So.
Yeah.
Is
So-
there I don't know, there's multiple auction sites. Are there ones that are more friendly to the seller or?
There are one that more like a municipality like us, so like government based and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, we found the old bucket truck, the one that we're trying to sell. We found it on Purple Wave. So,
Yeah, so I don't know, I mean, do you need a motion to say which ones to sell in there, or?
just to be on a safe side, I would,
So,
and maybe the minimum that you guys think, and then we can always Wednesday come and assess it. And we can.
minimum should probably be discussed in executive,
And
but.
Yeah.
do we, like, if we're not gonna put it on Purple Wave, are there items that we need a minimum for, like, right? But
Yeah.
on Purple Wave,
We're probably,
we won't set a minimum.
reserve,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
think most of those places don't
Oh.
let you do a reserve, I didn't think.
I think you can, I don't
think
know.
I wanted to say the last time what did we
We
sell?
did reserve, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty sure, but I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like there was something that we can set the reserve
Okay.
for.
Yeah, I just
I'll
saw
check on that.
I guess I have just vague knowledge of this. So what would you suggest be auctioned versus not auctioned on this list? I mean, I'm thinking the vac truck would be an auction, the mower, the bucket truck. Salt spreader, is that worth? No,
Mhm.
nope. That's the plow.
What's
That
wrong
was
with the
thrown on
mower?
The plow, I just kinda went off of what junk metals were,
Okay.
so.
Okay. So really just those three things then?
What's the pipe trailer?
It's a pretty rickety old thing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, worth much.
The main thing is the main vehicle.
Those three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The propane tank, if it's on there, I think it was on there, it's nothing.
Yeah,
We haven't
propane
lowered
tank,
it. Yeah,
the
we haven't
pool
lowered
slide,
it. No.
the irrigation
That
pipe.
slide, you can do what you want. It's the one we took out of the pool that goes down that, you know, the pump, that
Yeah.
she wanted out of there.
Yeah.
I hate to see it just thrown away. Somebody might want it for their pool.
Can have a 3 or 4 way bid for the people that own pools in St. John.
Well, there you go.
Old playground equipment, light poles, black plastic culvert pipe, black plastic tank, plow, trailer, and spreader. So probably just those 3 go to auction.
Which is a mower, the bucket truck, and the vac truck.
Yeah. And then the others we probably don't need minimums, we can just list.
Yep.
And I guess my opinion, if Purple Wave has no reserve, then we just go move
Go with it.
forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I guess if there is a reserve, we'll do that next meeting,
Sure.
discuss.
Yeah, if
what-
they come and look at it and then you can set a reserve, we can set it next meeting.
Yep. I'll get in touch with them and I will report back.
All right. Okay. Moving on to the next item on new business, repair on Dodge pickup truck for street department.
I think we already talked about it.
Oh, okay. All right, so moving on to executive session.
Which one do you wanna do first?
There's,
I think mine,
Do we have 4 or 5 of them?
2, don't we?
there's 2.
Two.
Yeah.
There's cause the other 2
15
things.
non-elected and a 5-minute attorney-client.
Yes. And I think he changed it to 10 when he made
Yeah,
the motion.
10.
Okay.
Yeah, when he made the motion.
So I'll make a motion to go into executive session for elected members only to discuss non-elected personnel to return here in the St. John Council Chamber in 10 minutes.
So
At
Danny and
8:52.
And Danny also, sorry.
Danny
That
included.
would be my question.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. We will resume at what? All right, so we're on? Yep. All right. Call this meeting of council back to order. Does anybody have anything in regards to the last,
I think we probably want Pam in for it. Or I'd like Pam to be in the last executive session.
okay, all right. There was one thing with the, one thing I wanted to say, and that's, you know, for those of us here at the table who have not been to any of the classes for councilmen, I think it would be very educational for you to go. I know I've been to them, they can be boring, but I think it's good for all of us to, and certainly getting one of the handbooks, if you don't have one already, probably good to get one because they're constantly updating it. I've talked with the League of Kansas Municipalities several times when I was the mayor, and there's quite a bit of things that happen during the year or the 4 years of your term. So just throwing that out there. Okay, moving on to the next executive session for, who did you want in there? My pen was done.
Elected member.
And I'll grab Pam. I'd say everyone at the table plus Pam.
Okay,
I make a motion that we go to a 5-minute executive session to discuss attorney-client privilege to include counsel, attorney, and clerk.
I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. And we will return at 9, what was that for?
It's 5 minutes.
8:50.
5 minutes, 9 o'clock. Call this meeting of council back to order. Is there anything else that we need to discuss this evening? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Entertain a motion to adjourn till our next city council meeting.
All right. Have a motion on the table. Do I have a second? Second. I'll second that one. All right. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.